In this poster, we present how we detect compromised domains from attacker-owned ones and also the longitudinal study. As you probably know, hundreds of thousands of malicious domains are created each day. They are either malware sites or phishing sites most of the time. It is not apparent from these malicious websites whether they are compromised or attacked, or in other words, how they are hosted. A malicious domain could be either compromised or attack on. The figure in the left shows an attack on site where attacker goes to a registrar and creates his or her own website to launch an attack, in this case to impersonate PayPal. And figure on the right, on the other hand, is a benign website compromised by an attacker, in this case created a subdomain to launch an attack. You might wonder why it is important to distinguish hosting types. There are several reasons, in fact. Different mitigation actions by intermediaries are taken depending on the hosting type. For example, if it is a compromised domain, the domain owner is likely to take mitigative actions. Whereas if it is an attack domain, it could be the internet registrar or the hosting provider who takes the action to clean it up. It also helps us to perform fine-grained blocking with minimal collateral damage. If it is an attack domain, one would probably want to block at apex level. If it is a compromised domain, it is prudent to block at subdomain level. We've surveyed popular blacklists out there. Even though this piece of information is quite important, none of these systems are reporting the hosting type, mainly because of the difficulty involved in predicting it accurately. We take a systematic approach to classify malicious URL as public and private, where public domains are like web hosting domains or dynamic DNS, or it could be a CDN. And private domains are domains owned by a single entity. It's NSA.gov or QCRI.org. And then for each of these type of domains, we identify compromised and attack-on domains. This diagram shows the overall pipeline we follow to identify if a given malicious URL is one of the 4 types mentioned at the end. Now, moving on to some high-level results from the longitudinal study followed after that. The left pie chart shows that almost 2/3 of private malicious websites are compromised. The pie chart on the right, on the other hand, understandably shows that majority of the subdomains are created by the attackers to launch the attack, presumably because of the low price tag involved. The figure on the left shows that attackers go after both very popular and not so very popular websites to launch their attacks. And figure on the right shows that attackers not only compromise newly created, newly launched websites, but also some well-established websites which have been there for more than 3 years. In fact, 80% of the websites compromised are 3 years or older, highlighting the fact that website owners need to continuously defend their systems in order to protect from miscreants. So in conclusion, we build machine learning models to classify URLs as malicious URLs as public and private hosting. And for each of these type of URLs, we build models to identify whether they are compromised or attack-owned. And we see the concerning trend that nearly 82% of malicious websites are hosted on apexes that attackers do not own. So we believe more research need to be done to secure these websites and public domains. As future work, we plan to implement a continuous evaluation of malicious URL types and also integrate it with existing blacklists and reputation systems.